Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I've been working and completed my April prompt for Susanna's calendar series, which was a bowl of the fruit, a still life if you will. So I've taken the idea and created this piece, and because this month of April is a little bit longer with an extra week, I thought, I just have to make a pear Christmas decoration for my Christmas tree, which I've been talking about. If you've been with me for the month watching the series, you would have heard me mention that I really wanted to explore a pear decoration and really, have another play. So that's what I'm up to today. I'm just going to pop my journal to one side. This little guy I made at Christmas with the prompt of mushroom from the Roxy Journal of Stitchery, and I just love him. I love the colours. It hangs beautifully on my tree. So what I'd like to do, partridge in a pear tree, I'd love to make a pear that's in this sorts of colour palette. So I went to the cupboard and I grabbed all of the morsels, and then this was in my French fabric, my container of French morsels that I bought when I was in Paris. And I thought, well, that works. So whether I can use it or not, I'm not sure. We'll see. But I guess the first thing we need is a pear. How are we going to do this? What are we going to use as our base of our pear? It'll be pretty much covered. I'm just wondering if I'd use this little check tartan and then build up from there, you know, cut a pear out and that's where I was sketching on the back of that. How big do we want our pear? We want it pretty luscious, don't we? Let's just get ourselves a pear shape and start. I want a bit of room to play with it too, as in beading and stitching and embellishing. So I sort of want it to be of a decent size, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Is that too big? Do we bring it down? No, I think that's pretty good. There's the name of this fabric. I've had this for ages, so I don't know if that's still available, but when I see nice checks, I tend to pick them up, or tartans, or I tend to pick them up. Now, I'll just cut the square out first. Let's be neat about it, and then that'll give me some little tartany bits that can be thrown in my scrap bucket. I so need to sort my scraps out, guys. And I need to do it by colour, I think. So I don't know, it's finding the right containers, and I'll cut that off for a start. Good little morsel. Pop that in my neutrals. Don't overthink it, girl. Just cut your pear out. It's abstract. It's not realistic. I have my bigger scissors with me. Does that look like a pear? That looks like a pear to me. Probably needs a little bit of slope there, but that's pretty good. And now we've got some lovely little morsels here, which she is seriously distracted with. Just going to trim it up. Those little bits can go into my little bucket. Won't keep those little bits. Okay. Seriously, you can't keep everything, guys. I know it gets out of hand, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've made a start. What are we going to do from there? We need to bring in the pear shape, don't we? We need to start creating this piece in here. That's the fabric I used on there. Oh, it's just the wrong colour. I do love this velvet. Cut a rectangle. And we'll just wing it. Let's see what comes of it. Just a bit of a shape. Yeah, I like that. I feel like the pear needs to sit on something too. Like we need a neutral fabric behind it. I wonder if there's anything in this. Just a little background. Just to create another layer. I like that. That's an old piece of napkin, I think, that I picked up in an op shop. Use some pins before you have a mess. I need to iron that. That's going to bug me, that little fold. Keep going. I feel like I could even put another layer behind this just to get a little bit of stability in the piece. It's very flimsy, flip-flopping around here a little. Yeah, like that. I wonder if I lay some calico under it. So it's going to hang on a Christmas tree, so I want it to feel a little substantial. What if I stitch it onto this and then trim it back? That'll give me something in my hand to hold. I'm thinking I'm going to do that actually. So it'd be a case of invisible stitching if I was so inclined, that onto the calico. Okay, how do we work some of this French fabric into it? Gosh, look at that little, don't know, it might be too big. Like those little flowers there would be gorgeous off the side. Oh, let's just cut them out. I don't know if it'll work. Let's just fussy cut them out. It's like an upholstery fabric, but could have even been curtaining. Not sure. This pear is getting very abstract. Now has flowers growing out of the side of it. We'll know it's a pear, won't we, by the time we're finished? I think so. Little floral piece inserted on the side of the pear. Oh my goodness, it's not where I thought it was going, but just go with the flow. And when I came to my desk to start filming, and I had the browns and golden tones in my hand, as I came to sit down in my French bucket here was this little piece of fabric sticking out, and I thought, oh gosh, how close is that to the... Yeah, I love that. Okay, we've got something now. Now, the pear centre. We need some smaller shapes to come in. Is that going to show up? Or do we go this guy? Let's have a look. Yeah, I like that. And then can we get a little bit of this guy? It's so close, the colour, to that. I don't think it's going to happen, actually. I think I'd rather find something lacy to go in there. There's actually a bit that's reminded me that lace, where is it? I saw it the other day. So all of those fabrics I think I'm done with. I think we've got the start of something. I just want to find a piece of lace to go in there. Hang on, guys. Dip into my bucket of bits and bobs with me. I could go darker. No. I know it's in here. This thing's just exploding with yumminess. It's an old lace. That's not it. Here it is. Oh, like seriously, the girl needs to get a life when she starts remembering morsels like these. No, it's not right. It's not the right shape. Maybe I'll just leave it at that and see what comes of it. So let's get some stitching down. So I want to do all that little beady little crystals and oh, I can't wait. Okay, invisible stitch, here we go. Let's get the layers all down. I could potentially put a little bit of stuffing in there too, couldn't I? You'd only need a little bit. Depends, do I want to make it three-dimensional? There's a stalk that needs to come off of it. Then how does it hang on the tree? Things to consider. So I might just run a couple little stitches through this centre, and that will at least tack down my layers. I think the stalk will be independent of the hanging piece to hang it on the actual Christmas tree. I have to think all that through, won't I? At the moment, one step at a time, just get, it feels beautiful and chunky, like felt very flimsy and soft and weak with that check. So I'm glad I put a piece underneath the check and then this as well. So now it feels really substantial in my fingers, which is good. You don't want your work being too, well, it's me, personal choice. You don't want your work Wondering if I should be cutting in there a little bit more. No, I'll leave it because I might come down there and bead and build up that corner a little bit with something decorative. Can get rid of the pin. Oh, it's nice to have a little piece of that French fabric on my Christmas tree. That's a bonus. Can you hear Fudgy snoring? You probably can't. It's cute. He's been a little bit off colour, but he seems really good today, so I don't know what was going on. We've had the air conditioning on quite a lot because it's just blooming hot. And we sort of thought, oh, maybe Fudgy, he likes it warm. I think I read somewhere that cats like it like 38 degrees. Cats like heat. They like lie in the sun and they'll warm their whole bodies up. So we thought, oh, maybe he's a little bit too cool. There's not the warmth. So I end up getting his electric bed out and warming up his bunk. Well, didn't he bounce back? He's had some good, big, deep sleeps in his warm little bed. So that's pretty good. I feel like that's secure. I'm not going to invisible stitch out on that velvet because my stitches, I think, will be very visible. I think we can do something decorative. Okay, that's not going anywhere. All right, I might just get one more stitch there. That feels a bit loose. Then I'll end it off. Okay, now the next thing I want to have a think about is some twine, because the pears have that line going through. So I've got some twine here somewhere. I'm just looking at my buffet behind me. Maybe I don't. I have some wool. Let's just see what this... See, that colour's pretty good. But I think I want it more rustic than that. Hold the thought, guys. I've got this little piece. I was using that on the panel that we did. I think I need a few more stitches up there. I need to have a think about the stalk as well. What are we going to make that out of? And then there's a leaf. That'll need a bit of strength to stand on its own accord. Just going to run a few little stitches up here. Okay. Just whipping down this outer edge. Just feel like I need that secure. Plus I'm thinking I'm thinking about the stalk. There was a brown piece of fabric, this here, that. I'm wondering if I can cut a piece out of that to make a stalk. See, I stitch and think at the same time. Invisible stitch is a blessing. I know some of you out there hate doing invisible stitch, but no, it is part of the process. It gives your mind time to think, especially if you're creating something from nothing, like you literally got a prompt in your head like pear, Christmas decoration. Just gives you a bit of breathing space. I'm going to come up that line there. Get another piece of cotton. It's like a whole little series of decorations. I've still got the tree up. I think I mentioned that in the last video. It's only, you know, 2 foot, 3 foot tall. It's an old girl that I inherited, and it's holding handmade pieces. So I like it. I like looking at it. Makes me think of the early settlers that came to Australia, and somewhere in their luggage they had this little Christmas tree. You're fleeing from a country, or you're just moving your family for whatever reason, opportunity to, you know, the new country. So many immigrants came through from Germany and Prussia, and that's where all my family have immigrated from, on both sides. And they set up Lutheran churches all over Australia. A lot from Adelaide, then migrated up to the South Burnett, and that's sort of where my family are traced back from, that Adelaide, come up through the back of Brisbane, Gatton, Dalby, up through into where I grew up. So it's quite interesting knowing that, oh, I like that. Is that going to hold together? Like, is it such a loose weave? Maybe I put it on a little bit of calico to stabilise it. We can do something. Give it a wedgy little top. Make it look a little interesting. That doesn't look that interesting. That's better. All right. Now we might pop it on a tiny little bit of calico, just to, because I think it would disintegrate that little edge that we cut off of that fabric. That would be real good, I think. And I don't mind if I see it. So what I'll do is slow stitch that on, whip stitch around it, and that'll all become stabilised. Then I'll trim the cream fabric back so that it's just peeking through, and that'll make quite an interesting little element there. As for the leaf, how are we going for time? Plenty of time. I'm just looking. Is that too dowdy? We need a dark green, but we need a dark, fresh green. This is a snippet off of the angels that I made. Look, there's a bit of wadding. I'm liking that there. And I'm liking all those layers. Remember the angel? I saw that here, look. Remember Susanna sent me a panel that had these little girls on it? That is off of the side of those. So let's I'm going to cut that there. I'm going to put that back in my bucket. You just never know. Is that invisible stitched? No. It's going to just disintegrate once I start mucking around here. Oh, what a cute little leaf. And it's layered and chunky and interesting. And that will go up there. Oh, love it. What a great morsel. Should I put 2 leaves on? Are we getting a bit ahead of ourselves here? Let's trim it into another leaf. Maybe a fraction smaller. Now I've disintegrated it. Oh, it's just got to be. All right. You just never know what scrappy bits are going to be what, do you? Okay. Let's get our needle and thread. Is there enough thread in there? Let's get these little elements stabilised. A couple stitches. And it's cool that I'm going to see all those layers. I really like that. That makes it interesting. It's not just a little piece of fabric. So let's get some itty bitty stitches in there. I'll probably embroider maybe some fly stitch down the centre. Of them, just to add some detail, even some gold thread. That'd be rather. Can you hear that? I actually thought it was a dog barking. It's not. It is a frog. I have a frog in my downpipe. What happened there? I picked up a thread, threaded the needle, but it wasn't the thread that's actually in the leaf. Oh my goodness. Nothing like fiddling around. So depending on how the weeks roll for April, the videos of this being worked on may even roll into the next month. We'll see. I've got to have a look at my little calendar. I'm filming this ahead of time, of course, so we don't know yet what the Roxy prompts are for the next month, plus the month of April. So who knows? I think you guys are pretty much, what are we going to get today? Video from Corrine. She's doing all sorts of projects all the time. Got to keep it interesting. Okay, that's secure. So we've got our little bits. Mustn't lose them. Oh, for goodness sakes, get a decent piece of cotton, girl. You're being too scrimpy. Is that a word? Stingy. That's a better word. I was going to use Hessian. Not Hessian, twine. Actually, we'll use that through the centre here, or will we? I don't know. Won't we? We could. We might. So let's just get a couple little stitches in there to secure these little layers before they disintegrate on me and disappear into the abyss that is this table full of fabrics and scrappy morsels. So this is collage in the sense of layers of all sorts of bits and bobs to create an overall image. All right, at least my little leaves now won't break up. Can't believe I found that piece. That's not going anywhere. Now we might, while we're in the mood of securing delicate morsels, let's get this little guy. I might just do straight into, oh, seriously, the knot. Forgot the knot. We'll go straight into stitching an overcast stitch, I think, because it is so loosely woven, this little, it's like a tweed. And I think the more I handle it, the more it'll disintegrate. So let's just stitch it on. With an overcast stitch. If I had my art glitter glue here, which I don't, it's in Brisbane, I would even be tempted to put a little bit of glue in behind it just to help stabilize it, but if I do a few stitches, I think it'll be fine. Is that too green? I like the other leaf because it's got that gold tone through it. It'll be all right because I want to use these green beads and that'll pick up on that green. So no, it's all good. As it looks now, just sitting there, it looks like it's very cool and not toning. But I think once the beads go in, I think it'll be okay. So the next video, how are we going for time? Oh, we might get it started, will be decorative stitching. Considering everything's secure, I do want to try and get that seam coming through here of the pear where the seeds sprout from. It's like the heart of the pear. Come on. I've gone into deep thought. It's been drizzling rain this morning, which makes it very sticky for when you're getting bobcats digging in trenches to take stormwater away from a shed. So I do hope they still come to do the task. Luckily the block is pretty much sand because we're close to the ocean. So the water drains away really quickly is what I'm trying to say. I'm concentrating on my little stitches here, trying not to break down this really delicate piece of woven textile. Such a great colour. These were a pair of shorts, if I remember rightly. I got them at an op shop in the kids section, teenage section, and they were a pair of little shorts. So I cut them down and removed the zip and all that, and the zip was actually broken too. If anyone had bought them for shorts, they would have been bitterly disappointed because the zip was buggered in it. Because I thought, oh, a little brown zip would be handy to have. But that, yeah. Okay, we're back to the beginning, and I feel like I've captured my little delicate morsel. Might just do a couple of stitches down the centre. Probably end up beading it maybe. I don't know. Mightn't need anything. Maybe the leaves become decorated. I don't know. All right, we're coming down that centre. I'm going to end it off now. So that was a little piece of selvage that came off that checker fabric. So, and it's perfect to stabilise. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Why is that caught? Be gentle. Perfect to stabilise these delicate little fabrics. All right, now the plan is to fussy cut this out with a little edge in the same style as the main part of the pear. Just adds another layer of colour and interest. Trim the little guy back a little bit. Okay, all right. Oh, the excitement of it all. Yeah, that's good. And then this big leaf will go in there somewhere, somehow. Little leaf will go in there somewhere, somehow. That's the top. Now, let's, scrappy bits everywhere. Let's have a think about the vein. The whatever, what am I trying to say? I'm going to break that down. And stitch that through the centre. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I want it to be quite exaggerated. And I think this will be just, where's some pins? I think I'll get a couple pins in just to hold it, because if that wriggles around too much, it's going to untwist and just fall apart on me. Take it right up there, I think. I didn't take it that high. Oh, look, leaves are flipping everywhere, stems. Let's put them somewhere safe. So they're there for the end. Grab some thread. Wonder if I use this and make a feature. Yes. So this is crocheting cotton. Number 20 DMC, found in an op shop, hardly any on the little roll. Might start in the middle and work out and just catch it down with a couched stitch. Might as well make a feature of it. So a bit of couching. We'll let it wriggle around a little bit, I think. I like its fluid movement. Then we need to think about the seeds. There's some copper fabric peeking out at me there, look. We could use that as seeds. They're technically black, but they don't have to be. I wonder if I've got some black beads. Maybe I'd hold my horses there and don't. Bloomin' pins. Gentle girl. Gentle. There we go. I can sneak another stitch into there. All right. Now I might just make my way back up in all the gaps, putting in an extra little stitch, and then work my way through the top. So there's our centre, the seam of which the seed seems to come from. There's always a colour shaded shape in there. Alrighty, now we're up into uncharted territory here, so I need to keep my stitches reasonably close together like I have below, because I probably won't work back down. Need to readjust that so that it's more central. Because this is not secured down yet, there might be an opportunity to actually poke some lace out from behind there. Something to think about. How are we going for time? Gosh, time just flies, doesn't it? Okay, now we're at the very top. Put an extra stitch. Seed. We need to make a decision about the seed. That could be a seed, but I think that's going to disintegrate. It's a tricky little fabric, that one. I don't think I've got any black in my bucket of scraps here, so we'd probably need to think more along the lines of stitching in something. So let's maybe do that next. Thread. Oh, I've got some ribbons. Have I got black ribbon? I would not have black ribbon, surely. Wouldn't that make a nice seed? Could use green, but they're black. No, stay focused. Black bead, like a seed bead in black. Oh, I don't think I've got anything like that. And you know what? It would take an hour of my time to go hunting for a black seed bead where we can stitch what we need in and move along. So that's a green, a bluey blacky. I like that tone. And it's a wool. So it's going to feel very much part of that. So we're going to use this. If I remember rightly, when I looked at pictures of pears cut in half, the seeds hang down. And they're actually a bit higher than I thought. I thought they were right down in the base. They're actually up here. Let's start with a lazy daisy stitch. Can't go wrong. It'll give us the curve. So this is a dark indigo blue. Oh, I like that. Gee, if that doesn't scream pear seed. Nothing does. I would not have achieved that with... Oh, my stitch has gone a bit wayward. Oh, are you serious? That's better. Yeah, I would not have achieved this look, this whimsical with a bead. It's all well and good using textured fabrics, but when they start mucking around, I probably haven't got enough invisible stitches, so I think what I'll do when I leave you guys is go back through and just make sure all of those little edges are secure, because it'll disintegrate lickety-split and I don't want that. So that was easy. There's our little seeds. No, yeah, it's like a bottle green. It's actually not a blue. It's an unusual colour. That to me, from memory, I was going to say gum nut yarn, but it's not. I don't know where that's come from. France. I don't know. That might be one of those random threads I pick up occasionally in packs from Purveyor of Textiles. Melanie, she does combinations of threads. So it could be part of that. Before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm just going to do no, I'm not going to use that. Let's be bold and pick a colour to stitch that here. How's that for a match? It's pretty close. Let's use this and get in there with some overcast stitch to hold. I think two threads will do it. Starting the decorative stitch process. I might start down here. We start here and get some stitches into this fabric to help stabilize it. May not see many of them, being that it's very blendy, but that's okay. At least I know that it's not going to disintegrate. Just pulling that needle for those seeds through, it started to all just fall apart. So we need to get in there, do some little close together blanket stitches, and that then will be forever secure. Thoroughly enjoying this calendar project of Susanna's. Even though I'm not making a calendar, it's sending me off on lots of tangents, which is cool. I probably would not have stitched pears in any way this year if it wasn't for the calendar project and having a random prompt each month that just goes, all right, well, what are we going to do? Because we did a bunny in March, we did the ocean in January, February was all about hearts. You know, it's, if you haven't joined in, you should, because you don't have to do the calendar. You can just pick an image that inspires you and then put your twist on it. Goes for any stitch alongs that you come across online, and there's heaps. There's so many. There's so many I want to do, and then I'm like, well, I've sort of got my own ideas too, and there's just not enough time in the day. And then I see the beautiful work coming out from some of these other YouTubers. I'm like, oh, I'd love to have a play with that, but there's just not enough time. Yeah, that's good. That's just made that feel so much more secure. And I don't know if you guys can pick up on it, but there's a little gold embroidered edge appearing, which is rather sweet, which is very, very good. The beads and stitching all them down, that'll really help. If we've got time, we might do some decorative stitch around this velvet. Probably use that thread. Here we go, 10 minutes. The other thing I want to do is go hunting for some texture to lay over that part of the pear as well. Some of this would be good. What I need to do is upend that big container of scraps and just see exactly what I've got and sort it. I might do that next because I know there's morsels in there that'd work beautifully with this, but at the moment it's just exploding all over my desk. So I might break it down by colour and by lace, and then when I come back in this next video, I'll feel like I've got myself a little bit more organised, if there's such a thing, with fabric collaging. And that is not going anywhere. That's really secure. You see my little stitches on the back. Okay. What would be nice on the back of the pear when I've done is the wadding that I spotted in that, this is like a wool wadding. That would be really nice if I can find some attached to the back of it to hide all my stitches at the very end. Or I don't. Sometimes I like seeing all the stitches. Let's have a look at the next. I'd like to do some feather stitch around that there, like I did in the journal. That worked out really well. But then the other side I might do overcast stitch, so it's not, you know, overcast stitch here and feather stitch this side. So I might just start that. But we are dealing with velvet, so we might find that the stitch buries down into it. So I might have to be quite loose with the lay down of the thread. It's twisting. Get this one done. And then I need to let the needle twist. It's unusual thread, this one. It's like a cord. So it tends to twist easily. There we go. That stitch is too big. Just a little bit too big. It's the stitch from the bottom went too deep. So I might try and just position it. It's probably only a few mil in it, but it suddenly looked out of place. Come on, thread up. Must be sliding to the end of the hour now. I'll just come up a little bit. I want to be there. And then catch my stitch again. Gentle as she goes. There we go. That's better. Just a little detail coming down that side of the pear. It's tricky when you're stitching velvets because, like I said earlier, your embroidery can disappear into it. So you've sort of got to find that right tension. Don't be too tight with your stitch because it'll sink and be gone. You'll be wondering, where was that stitch? I might go looking for a thread that matches that olive and do the overcast stitch around. I don't think I want to make it an obvious stitch. I think that'll make it look too chunky. I want the finer. I don't want to overpower those itty bitty flowers, is what I think I'm trying to say. It's fiddly. And this thread, see, it's twisting on me all the time. A little bit of patience is all it's needed. It's old too, so goodness knows what's life it's led. Could even be a little bit heat affected. You just don't know when you pick up threads from history. It's not disintegrating, so I know it hasn't lost its structure. Have I got enough to finish this off? Gosh, that'd be clever if I could just make it. I'm just going to make it, you know. Look at that. Gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. It'd be fiddly to get that knot, but I will. Okay. So now I've just got to decide what I do down this side. Do I do the same stitch or do I do an overcast? How are we going for time? 3 minutes. Let's just get this knotted off. I don't want that stitch to come undone. I might just do that, I think. Bear with me, guys. Come on, I should upgrade a bigger needle. Why make it hard? Go to a big girl with a big eye. No, too big, too blunt. Do I have anything? Yeah, there it is. A cruel needle will do the trick. Nice big eye. Pull it through. There's a message. Someone want to have a chitty chat. And then I can do that and that and knot her off. There we go. That's not going anywhere. What we'll do before I let you go is I'm just going to start on that other side with an overcast stitch. And if it looks silly, like it won't look silly, well, maybe it will, but if it disappears into the velvet, I will do the fly stitch, what do they call it? Not fly stitch. And I just tighten that up. Feather stitch. I just want it to look a bit eclectic. Yeah, no, that'll work. The same thing, just don't be too heavy-handed, girl. Just lay your stitches there. Like I could do a blanket stitch too, would be another one that you could do. Those little fluffy bits. Yeah, I like that. Just makes it look different. It's not same. was thinking about popping some lace in, but that thought's gone. We're now stitching it down. I think I'll do something with lace up here and beads so it looks like it's cascading down the top. We'll see. And going by the time, that will be the next video. I've given me a chance to dig out the beads. I'm going to need to go and find those. It's time for breakfast too. My tummy is rumbling. So for my homework, so that I don't get too far ahead, is I'll find the thread that I can use to overcast stitch down that little floral piece, and it'll be that olive tone. I might do some stitching around here and here on that tartan, just to anchor that down, and it might be a case of some more fly stitch and some overcast stitch, so it's sort of uniform. So it'll be working with those around there and stitch that down. Then we're ready for lace embellishing. We can then start looking at stitching on our little additional pieces. So yeah, I think that's where we'll leave it for now, and I'll come back in the next video and we'll play some more. All right, guys, have a great day. See yous.